test the levels real quick.
Test. Hello. There we go. Test.
One more time.
Test. Hello.
Okay, that's probably good right there. Recording.
It's time for the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan, one of the top real estate agents, not only on the Grand Strand, but in the world. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, the Wall Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Good morning, everyone. Brand new show this week. All kind of stuff going on right now in real estate. We've had a crazy few weeks with interest rates, with the Fed meeting, with the war stuff. And so the good news is it's back a little bit more stable. Rates down just a little bit. We're in the heat of the spring market, and that's been pretty good. New property under contract, it has died down a little bit over the last 2 weeks. A little bit, rates went back up. Now they're back down a little bit. It's a very, very interest rate driven marketplace right now, but also very seasonal, right? We're in that seasonality of the spring to summer market. The absolute best time to list or sell your property is now. And so we'll talk about that today's show. The brand new market numbers in from last month. We don't have the micro market numbers in. They'll be in 2 days, and typically about 2 days they have them finalized from a third party company. We'll go over those in next week's show, but pretty decent numbers. And I'll tell you, that's something that came off the heels of like 5.99 rates in February and March. And then obviously things started to go up a little bit. We'll talk about what's going on nationally too. Some areas, like I mentioned previously, the new reports out are struggling right now, particularly Florida and Texas. A lot of Florida's seen some struggling in terms of their market, prices going down, inventory going up. And we've also historically tend to follow Florida a few months later. So we'll talk about that, kind of what's going on. And also have this on the list for the last 3 weeks. We just haven't had time to get to. So I made sure I blocked out time. It's too important. It's basically the number one reason that deals fall apart and how to get ahead of them, how to keep them together. Something we've learned over time, just doing this for 20 plus years in the business, something we teach our team. And it really is by far the biggest issue. And it comes down to what we call the pre-frame, and particularly how you manage the deals. And there's a lot more to it than just like find the property and listing property. People think it's just that. This the largest investment people make when they buy, one of the largest assets people have when they sell. Very, very, very emotional. When you add egos and emotions, there's a lot of things that go wrong very easily if they're not managed correctly. So we'll talk about that. And there's actually 3 other things that do matter as well. I'm going to go over kind of recap why I think this is by far the most important spring to summer market we've had in a decade. I'm seeing that now. We're seeing that based on what our marketplace is doing compared to some national markets. I do think we'll probably see a little bit of slowdown mid to late summer unless something does happen with the economy overall. Again, our investment properties still buy properties like crazy. We bought 2 just this past week, which has been awesome. One single family, one's a condo, which we typically don't do too much, but it was something that they wanted us to buy. They moved down to Charleston and just wanted to instant kind of fair cash offer. And so we'll share what that is, kind of what that looks like. Some amazing success stories. Our team has put 20 properties under contract so far this week and 2 more days in terms of how we count our deals. And so that's a lot of, teams don't do that in an entire year in many cases. So we'll talk about that. We have the same goal we've had here every single week for the past 15 plus years in the station is keep you updated, everything real estate related, right? My job, my goal and purpose is to help keep you updated with what's happening in the market so you can keep a pulse on it, and really just want you to be able to make better decisions for your largest assets. And for most people, that's real estate. And so if you want to know what's happening micro market, macro market, interest rates, that's what we're here to do. So make sure you stay tuned. If you ever want to come back and watch them, listen to them, share with somebody, we do stream on YouTube. Just type in Blake Sloan Radio Show on YouTube. You can follow me at Blake Sloan and Facebook. We stream it there. We stream it Sloan Realty Group on Facebook. But make sure to stay tuned. Lots of great stuff in today's show.
For any new listeners, just to give you an update on just who Blake is, it's an amazing story. Industry leaders have dubbed him the real estate whiz kid. Been featured in Forbes, Wall Street Journal, NBC, Realtor Magazine, and many other national publications. He has been personally endorsed by Sean Hannity and Glenn Beck. One of those by itself is an accomplishment, but all of them together is unprecedented. Last week, we learned a little about how you and your team work and how a good portion of your success has come from the trademark systems you have developed to help both buyers and sellers here in our market. Recap quickly for anyone new to the show what those are exactly and a quick overview of how they work, Blake.
Yes, Rick. I'll tell you, this is why I do the whole show. I have horror story after horror story after horror story every single week. And I made a promise a while back. Like I was talking about all this crazy cool stuff. But it never really fixed the real problem. Didn't really address the real problem. And it's by far the biggest problem in the entire industry, not just here, but not just here locally, but nationally. It's by far the number one thing I deal with consumers. Is by far the biggest mistake anyone makes. And it's what costs them the most amount of money. And so I made a promise to myself and everybody on the show. I said, look, I'm going to keep talking about this as long as it's still a problem. And that's my main purpose, why we do it. And so my main purpose is to educate, to help really kind of open your mind and shift your worldview of how you kind of see things, because it makes so much costly mistakes people that make. And the mistake they make is thinking that all real estate agents are the same, right? They make the mistake of viewing agents as a commodity like rice or corn. And I get it. Why? Because the majority of them are very similar and pretty much most are the same, right? The fact is the average agent in our marketplace sells 4 homes a year. That's terrible. It's horrendous, right? 1 home per quarter. It's actually 3.6 homes per agent per year, which is terrible. There's no experience. There's no understanding. There's no pulse in the marketplace. And guess what? There's no money to eat with, much less spend on, marketing on your behalf. And so that's why 50% of properties fail to sell. And the ones that do typically leave money on the table because the process is not, correct. What most people don't realize is it's a long sales cycle. And so what that means in a long sales cycle, there's a lot of things that can go wrong. There's 118 different variables actually from A to Z when you're selling a property. If each one's handled correctly, saves you money, puts property in your money in your pocket. Anything's handled incorrectly, aka the agent drops the ball at any point. That can be anything from does the agent answer the telephone? We've been doing that lately, making some kind of recruiting calls. And I've been noticing now, 4 to 5 agents have a call screener on their phone, which makes you have to talk to AI. And guess what? A buyer calls that for sale sign. They are not waiting. They're not listening. That opportunity is gone, right? You see that all the time. But most agents don't answer the phone when you see something. You've obviously done that before. They tested, we show this in our documentary online at blakesloan.com, a company called 3,000 real estate companies across the United States. Less than 50% of the time the phone got answered or was the message even returned. That's a big ball drop, right? Price strategy, price too high, price too low. The quality of the photos, the actual order of the photos. Is it marketed anywhere? If it is marketed anywhere, how much money's behind it? How many phone calls are made to buyers that potentially match it? How do they increase demand? All these things matter. Especially when it comes down to negotiation strategy, how they use data. I found that most agents, they don't even understand the data at a high level to even price it correctly, or much less defend an offer. And so there's all these things that make or break the home sale. But what most agents do is the old school method, right? We call it the cassette tape. They do the 4 Ps. They promise you the world to get the listing. They tell you anything and everything. Typically they're number one. They're always number one, right? The second thing they do is they put it to MLS. 3 days sit back and, basically pray that someone else brings a buyer. 3 Ps, right? Promise world, put it in MLS, pray someone brings a buyer. Meanwhile, they're down the street trying to get the next listing because that's how most survive. They get 5 listings, right? 2 or 3 sell. They're doing okay statistically, right? And that's how the home seller ends up holding the bag and have a very, very bad experience in many cases. And so when I got in the business, man, there's got to be a better way to do this. That's not a very good success, rate right there, having that very, very low. And so if you look at it, it's just a broken business model where you have one person trying to do everything. And that's just on the listing side. Guess what? Those agents also trying to work with buyers. They're riding buyers around all the time, 20, 30, 40 miles a day, showing 5, 10, 15 properties to the same buyer, but you can't survive with one buyer. So now you need 10 or 15 buyers to survive. Because a lot of those take a long time to find the one they want and buy. And so there's not enough time in the day. And so what that ends up being in terms of broken business model, it's like having the same person at McDonald's doing their front register, drive-thru and French fries at the same time. Very inefficient. We should every week because people still make that mistake. And I see people every single week. 2 separate instances this week. I don't want to share the specific details, but it costs them a massive amount of money. One was on the buy side, one was on the seller side. And there's all these nuances that things happen and people need to understand how to structure things and how to progress on it. And so when I got in, I was like, there's got to be a better way to have something proven repeatable. How do I scale this and how do I make sure that we get the same result for clients almost every single time? And so I designed this system called the Guaranteed Sold System. It's the only proven system, sells twice as fast and for 20% more money than traditional methods. And it works very, very, very well. It's backed up by 2 main things: a large team of people. There were 30 plus people in the team, 25 buyers agents. We have 4 listing partners, inside sales team, outside sales team, listing coordinator, 2 closing coordinators, full-time graphic design, full-time photographer, videographer, all that stuff there, so that I can control the variables. And when you stack those variables up, it may not make a big difference at point 1 or may not make a big difference at point 2. But if I can create a small gap point 1, small gap point 2, stacked it at 118, what happens is it creates a massive gap between us and everyone else. If you look at the home sale process, it's like a marathon. And if you look at how things work in a regular marathon, you have the shotgun start, everyone starts running. In the beginning, there's a big group, but at the end, people finish 2 and 3 hours ahead of the people. It's the same exact thing that we do with that marathon of a home sale, because there's so much at stake. And the reason it's so important is you have, number one, a long sales cycle. Number 2, it's a high ticket item. And number 3, it's very emotional for people. You add those 3 things in there, it's a big, big opportunity for things to get screwed up very quickly, and it costs you a lot of money very, very fast. And so guess what? On the buyer side, same exact thing. It's 100 plus variables you buy. Each one's handled correctly, it costs you money. Anything's handled incorrectly, guess what? It's not going to get the property, or it's going to cost you too much money. And so the reality is, like, we had to create a better way. So I designed this thing there called the Unfair Advantage Home Buying System. Get your party access to foreclosures, distress sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation, purchase price, as well as the home inspection to get you that close table successfully. But they matter, right? Experience matters. We just had an example this week. One of our listings agent brought us an offer. The buyer was from Long Island. They wanted to buy our listing. They sent us an offer that was a decent price, not quite, near where it was, from $400,000 house here. I think they offered like, I don't know, $350 or something, but they had a contingency in there that the buyer needed to sell their home first. And they wanted 4.5 months to sell the house, right? The house was not even in the market yet. So they're kind of leading this buyer along, having that strategy. And guess what? My seller said, absolutely not, right? I'm not going to waste the 4 most important months of the year having my house sit there for hopefully for them to get their property even listed and or on the market, right? And so these are where it's so important to have somebody who can advise you and tell you to do the right things in the right order, where historically probably want to have that property in the market first. You don't have to have it sold yet, but at least my seller can now look at that and say, okay, their price XYZ, it looks like it's worth XYZ, probably going to sell pretty quickly, probably going to sell at least in a reasonable amount of time. And then as a home seller, you have the advantage to raise or drop the price based on how much traffic you're getting. And the cool thing is you don't have to take an offer that really puts you in a bond. You can spread the closing date way out. Now you have the authority and the ability to make a much stronger offer on the buy side when you're buying, but those are small details that makes a difference. And so if you want to know more on how that works, I think it's important that you owe it to yourself to at least learn more about it. It's a whole purpose behind the show, but thankfully created an amazing documentary. It breaks down every single thing. It really goes behind the curtains of how real estate works, the horror stories, how they work, and really the proven system to help get your property sold faster and for more money. And if you're a buyer at home, same exact process. A documentary right now, you can watch it at blakesloan.com. Do yourself a favor, watch it this weekend. It really shows you things you can do. It's not just about us or about Blake. It's about how the process works, how to get the most amount of money, how you can do it, what to look for. And here's the other thing I noticed in doing this for 20 plus years. No one's really ever asked me the right questions, right? They never ask you the question of what is important in terms of choosing an agent. The only question really get is how much do you charge, which is not the right question. It's definitely one of the questions you should ask, but you never want to lead with that, right? If I buy anything, I've been teaching and preaching this a lot lately to my team, to people, like if I buy anything on the planet based on price, if I want the cheapest anything, it's never going to be a good outcome. If I want the cheapest lawyer, guess what? I'm going to jail. If I want the cheapest doctor, I'm probably going to die, right? You don't want those type of things. If I want the cheapest BMW in Myrtle Beach, I'm definitely going to get a lemon, not a great car. And so you want to search for the best value. And for the value, you got to ask better questions and deeper questions. Things like, hey, what makes you different than everybody else? What marketing process do you have that gets my property more exposure than anybody else? How do you negotiate? What's your strategy for negotiation? What's your track record look like? All those are real questions that you want to ask to determine value. And then you can make that decision based on value. So if you want to know more how it works, we break it down the documentary. You can check it out at blakesloan.com. Also, as usual, we're hustling today and every day. Give us a call. We're here to answer your questions. 843-808-SOLD. Take a quick break. Right back here in a second.
Hey, Sean Hannity here with the only real estate agent in your market that I recommend, Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. Now, thanks for joining me today. A lot of people may be thinking about selling their home, but they want to make sure they're getting the most money possible. What options do you have available to make selling a home easier?
Hey, Sean, we have 3 unique, innovative options for home sellers right now. First, we have a program for maximum convenience, where I represent a large investment fund with millions of dollars looking to buy homes at a fair price in the Myrtle Beach, Grand Trenton area. Or we have a program for maximum speed, where I can match your property up with one of our 100,000 plus active home buyers looking to buy properties here on the Grand Strand. Or 3, maximum value. We have a proven system that'll sell your home twice as fast and for 5 to 15% more money than traditional methods.
All right, thanks for keeping us up to date. Call the agent that creates the most demand. Call Blake Sloan today at 808-SOLD or online at blakesloan.com. That's blakesloan.com.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corbin. I'm excited to connect with Blake Sloan, the only real estate agent in Myrtle Beach that I recommend. You offer several options to home sellers, which really takes away the stress.
That's right. For sellers in a time crunch, we can agree to sell it by a certain date, pay cash for your home, or even rent.
That's great. And if the seller has a bit more time?
We use our proven marketing plan to sell it for the highest price.
Work with my friend Blake Sloan and get your home sold on your terms.
Welcome back, Blake Sloan, a real estate show. Brandon market update, all kind of stuff happening. And it's been interesting, right? There's a lot going on right now. You kind of have what we call the lagging numbers, which we call the rearview mirror numbers. That's what closed. That's what we'll go over right now today. We mentioned it last week on last week's show. It was the very first day of the month that we were recording it, the first that they get the reports in. So it's a little bit more fine-tuned. Typically around the 10th of the month is when you start to see it be fully accurate, just because agents are busy and slack and don't feel the data in. They don't put a closed sale in until typically 10 days later. But that helps us really kind of understand what's happening for closed deals. And again, remember, if it's a closed deal last month, it probably went under contract 30 to 60 days prior to that. So we'll break that down. That's important for comps, appraisals. What's the actual value of things, right? We also look at the pulse. What I call it is the front windshield numbers, the future values, which is hey, what's happening in real time? We started this in COVID, one of the most important, valuable things we've done in terms of metric standpoint. I'm a huge nerd for numbers. I know that I can use numbers, reverse engineer the strategy for my client. And that's how we push the envelope and get more money for our clients, by understanding the data. Most agents are picking out 3 or 4 comps, have no clue what's going on, selling 4 homes a year, and they're advising you on what to do with your largest asset, which is definitely not the case, right? Imagine having a stockbroker, he trades 4 stocks a year, and he's telling you what to buy. It's not very, very logical. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but people do it every single day. And so here's the one thing we'll look at. We call the front windshield numbers. That's what's happened in the last 7 days. That's allowed me to tell, and even for my ad spend, we spend a lot of money in marketing, right? $100,000 plus a month. And so it allows me to know what's happening so I can make adjustments in real time based on what's happening in terms of buyer traffic, buyer demand, things like that. So we track how many properties go under contract in a 7-day period. In the last 7 days, there was 565 properties under contract for $233,170,436. So 100 to 233 million, pretty good. It's really good. Anytime you're over 200, it's rocking. Anytime you're close to 250 million, it's really good. And so especially this time of year, some big time properties under contract that we have here. One at Deberdew, 2.99 million. The Dye Estates, 2.83 million. Dunes Cove, that's right next to my parents' house, actually 2.49 million. A Grand Dunes Members Club, 2.28 million. Waverly Creek, 1.9 million. Another Deberdew, 1.8 million. Non-neighborhood one, 1.85 million. Litchfield, 1.7. Waterway Palms, 1.7. Grand Dunes, Calais, 1.49. Waterbridge, 1.42. So lots of big stuff happening out there. Lots of big money. If you look at it, there's one $3 million property, 2 over $2 million, 16 properties are $1 million, and 117 properties are $500,000 under contract in the last 7 days, which is huge, right? It is down a little bit from last week's show. Last week's show was 647, so about 80 properties different for $244 million. And here's the crazy part. The biggest number we saw in the last really 2 years was on 429. So really just over a week ago, week and a half ago, it were 670 properties under contract for $250,436,000. That's the highest amount of properties that's gone under contract in any 7-day period since March 2024. And so that's a great spring market right now, summer market that we're into. And so again, you want to strike while the iron's hot. You want to make sure that you tee your property up while people are swinging that club, right? And so that's why the seasonality matters so much. And really is a big surprise. We had a very, very dismal January, February, even December here in the marketplace. A lot of places across the country did. Rates started to creep down. They got to 5.99. Things really started rocking and rolling. Then all of a sudden, boom, the war started. Inflation concerns went up. Bond market had concerns. Lots of everything concerns, right? Gas gone up, and so affordability struggle. And then all of a sudden, you're seeing interest rates go up as well, which does put a stop or a slowdown on a lot of home purchases. And so that's something we'll keep watching. That's why I think the seasonality really helps. There's so much pent up demand. People have looked for properties for months and months and months and months that are coming in town. They're combining their vacation with their purchase. And so it's a very, very good time. Our team is super busy right now. And so really quick, looking at we call the rearview mirror numbers, what closed last month. Let's look at resale homes that closed last month. Sales actually up 7.3%, which is awesome. Last week's show, it was very, very low. I think it was like up 2% maybe. So now that data is in. 531 properties closed, up 7.3% from last year, the same month, which is awesome. Prices made a little switch too. Prices were actually down the first of the month. We're looking at the data. Now it's gone up. Median price up 1.8% for resale homes, which is great, at $397,000. Average sale price up 1.8% from at $508,000, which is really good because it was all the way down at $479, and we had a 4-month decline in a row where prices declined. So that's a really good little bump there. If you look at year versus years, not much, but it's definitely not a decline, which is great. Even days on market came down a little bit. Look at days on market. It's at 108 days right now. It was at 123 in February. Last month, days on market was 115. So not too bad overall. Looking at supply inventory, aka how many houses, is pretty much flat. Right now it's 5 months of inventory. It's slightly a seller's market. Anything 6 months or more is a buyer's market. And so you want to make sure that you're kind of timing that right. Anything that gets above that, like for example, the condo market is purely a buyer's market right now. You're seeing that switch happen. And the big challenge everyone kind of runs into right now is just buyer traffic. There's still 50% of properties don't sell that get listed in single family homes. Like right now, the average listing gets 3.9 showings the entire time it's listed over a 6-month period, right? How many showings does it take to get a contract? It takes 13. And so you can see you need 3+ times the amount of showings that the average listing gets to get a contract. That's why many of those aren't showing. They aren't happening, right? So if I have an agent who has no marketing budget, who sells 4 homes a year, who simply puts it in MLS or has an open house, that's not going to cut it because it's so competitive right now. It's not super hot, right? It's not declining too bad, but it's definitely have some cracks in the housing market. So you want to make sure you have someone who can drive traffic. And how we do that, we spend massive amounts of money, generate thousands of leads per month. And then we also, what we do on that, we make 14,000 plus phone calls per week to match up buyers and sellers. And we have 25 plus buyers agents. They do that and they're able to match up buyers and sellers because they get incentivized to sell listings. Why is that? Because I'm in business to make money. And that's what you hired us to do, is actually sell the property, not just put it into MLS. And so if you want to know more how it works, reach out, call me, 843-808-SOLD. You can also see the details and the back end of I'll show you the website in the documentary, all the buyers, how they work, the technology we use. You can see all that on blakesloan.com. The one thing driving this interest rates right now, they've been all over the place. They've been the roller coaster for sure. Remember, we hit 5.99. That was all the way up to 6.62. Last week's show was 6.45. We hit 6.5 last week. Right now, we're 6.44% for a 30-year fix, which is great news. A 15-year fix, 6.00. 30-year jumbo, 6.59%. A 30-year FHA in the 5s, which is great. 5.95, and a 30-year VA 5.96. We've done a lot of FHA and VAs lately that we've seen, and so there's still some affordabilities. Rates are not bad, but they're not fantastic. I think you'll see the market kind of really light up once it gets to 5.99, but there's concern it's not going to get back down too much, right? Fed's even talking about raising rates again this year based on inflation. So if I'm a home seller, I'm thinking about getting it done based on seasonality. I think by far, like I mentioned, in my opinion, it's the most important spring to summer market in a decade. I think there's a lot of cracks in the economy, a lot of cracks in the housing market in other areas, which we'll talk about in a minute. So if I want to make sure that I get ahead of that, get max amount of money, you always want to tee it up when everyone's coming in town to buy something, because that is more demand. If you watch the graphs, the months that sell the most for the most amount of money are these next 2 to 3 months. And so if you're thinking about doing something, I recommend doing it earlier rather than later, because you always want to sell when the most buyers are here in town. So that's what I kind of look at overall. I'll take a quick break, right back here in a second with a hot buyers alert.
WRNN listeners, Clay Travis here. As investors in real estate, Buck and I both know exactly what to look for to find the agent with the best tools and marketing to get the highest sales price possible for a home.
Totally true, Clay. And here in Myrtle Beach, that agent is our friend Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. If you need to sell a home and buy a new one, ask Blake about his guarantee.
Get this, Blake guarantees to sell your home at a price and deadline you agree to, or he'll buy it himself. And since you know when your current home will sell by and for how much, you can buy your next home without worrying about getting stuck with 2 mortgages.
There's simply no other agent in the market who has a guarantee that will line up against what Blake Sloan can offer you. So when you're looking to sell and buy, he is your guy. Read nearly 750 5-star reviews by Googling Sloan Realty Group. Give Blake a call today and start packing. That's Sloan Realty Group.
And tune in to Blake's show Saturdays at 9 a.m. and Sundays at 11:30 a.m.
Hey, Myrtle Beach, it's Gary LaVox, lead singer of Rascal Flatts.
I'm moving on.
When I'm Moving On won the award for ACM Song of the Year, it struck a chord with folks who understand the challenges that come with life's big changes. For many, that happens when it comes time to sell their home. If you're moving on, you want a real estate agent who will make selling your home easy and stress-free. An agent who's willing to let you out of the contract if you're not happy with their service. That's why in Myrtle Beach, I can tell you that Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group markets your home on a whole different level. Now listen, Blake is so confident in his ability to sell your home quickly and for more money that he guarantees to sell it or he'll buy it himself. If you're moving on, trust Blake to provide your family a stress-free home sale experience. Find Blake Sloan online at blakesloan.com, or you can call him at 843-808-SOLD. Start packing.
Welcome back, Blake Sloan, Real Estate Show. Hot Buyers Alert. My team and I work with a ridiculous amount of home buyers. Look at my properties here, the Myrtle Beach Grand Strand area, anywhere from $250,000 to $6.6 million. If you think about selling, give us a call immediately, 843-808-SOLD. That's 843-808-SOLD. We talk about this every week. So I made another promise years ago. I said, look, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. A lot of people promise stuff. They say all this stuff. They reality, most of them don't have a marketing budget that's very large, and they don't wait to really do anything until they put the sign in the front yard and just hope someone comes along, right? With us, we're spending $100,000 a month every single month in marketing, drive massive amounts of traffic. And right now, active home buyers, we just share them out. Hey, you can see them with anybody we meet with. We show you the back, and you can see them live searching. It's like ants moving around. You can watch them do it, see what they're doing. It's super cool. And right now, 83,219 active home buyers, 83,219 active home buyers. That's just on one site. We have another branded site that we use, probably another 20,000+ people that are searching. We spend massive amounts of money right now. I got Kay from Lancaster, South Carolina. I got Loretta Blackman from Winter Springs, Florida. I got John Prowess from Harrisburg, PA. I got Gene Morrow from Greer, South Carolina. Deb from Salisbury, North Carolina. McLeansville, North Carolina. Let's see, Concord, New Hampshire. I got Cottage Grove, Charlotte, North Carolina, New York, which is pretty cool, Pittsburgh, PA, Petersburg, Virginia, Johnson City, Tennessee. So all over, we have a global reach, right? And so we have what we call buyers in waiting. Anytime someone lists, we're able to use our technology, reverse engineers the most likely buyer for that property based on previous search patterns, and it allows us to sell a property faster, match up with a phone call and a text message, get them in there, and that's one way to sell it much, much faster than the average. So if you're thinking about selling, give us a call, 843-808-SOLD. If you know somebody looking to sell, save me in your phone as Blake Sloan Sold. Say, look, if anybody come across, work with them. If you like them, if you don't like them, right? Friend, relative, aunt, uncle, whoever it is, if they mention or smell like they got to do something in real estate, say, look, you got to call my buddy Blake. Give them my number, 843-808-SOLD. We want to make them one of our next success stories. This is a really cool one too. Big shout out to Dave and Tracy. Tracy's a longtime listener here, which is super cool to this show. And they have amazing luxury property on the Waccamaw River. It's huge, great property. Reaching us out, it's time to move to Texas, be close to their son and his family. They put a lot of time, money into making this property very unique and amazing, very luxury, nice home. They want to make sure they get every single dollar of equity they could out of it. Thankfully, Tracy's a longtime listener to our show. She knew the only person to call, which was us, me, thankfully. Thanks, Tracy. We met with David and Tracy, shared with them. We had hundreds of buyers look for high-end properties on the water, just like theirs. I came in, designed a custom plan, launched our gold marketing blitz, professional photos, drone photography, the virtual reality walkthrough. Within a few weeks, drove massive traffic, had multiple offers, which is cool. And they chose the one they wanted that net them a great price for the home. Now they can move to Texas, be close to their son, his family, with maximum equity in their pocket. So big shout out to them. Thanks, Tracy, for calling us. Also, another cool one, Sam, he's a past client of ours. He recently inherited a home from his mother who had passed away. Sam's goal was to sell the property, use the money to build his family a brand new home. He had such a great experience with us the first time. In the past, he knew exactly who to call to sell his mother's property. He didn't want to give it away to some investors. We met with Sam, shared how we can have it sold just as is, and he can use the money to build his home. He hadn't put any work into it, no fixing up. We came in, designed a custom plan, launched our Go Marketing Blitz, professional photos. Within just a few weeks, had an amazing offer on the property, under contract, and now it's closed. He can move forward, building his family's dream home, which is super cool. And so if you're thinking about it, if you're out there, you want to be next success story, don't be a horse, you're out there, reach out, give me a call, 843-808-SOLD. I was going to talk about the reason that falls through, but I got like 1 minute left. It's interesting. This article is national, says, is late May too late to sell your home? Because remember that article that said April 12th through 18th, quote, it's the best week. And that's a report. And that so far was ready. But it says here, Zillow just came out and said the absolute best time to list your house this year is the last 2 weeks of May. And that's approaching fast. And it said basically it's not just 1 week, but there's a window, and that window is still wide open. Different organizations run studies like this every year. They don't always land on the exact week, but they land around the same month or two. And so if you want to be that next success story, reach out, call us 843-808-SOLD. That week's coming up very quickly. Give me a call today.
Sweet, I got you. I close up that little patch with that first song. I thought it was gonna pot down, but the slider didn't affect it. So
That's all right.
yeah, I got it down now.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. You all good?
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Thanks so
All right,
much.
have a good weekend.
You too.